Good morning, Cadre. Hope you settled in. This one might be a little bit longer. Got a whole bunch of new stuff to roll out today. And today we're going to actually start with the hair so that I can show you this, which I actually learned about on the Cadre. If you're not part of it, come visit us at theshavingcadre.com. I'm Nurse Dave there. But this is Suavecito pomade for your hair. Wild West or Jim, they're on the forums that originally started a thread talking about this one, which I picked up. But this stuff, you can see I haven't used it much, and it's super hard to get it out. You have to like scrape it with your thumbnail, and it might be meant for people that need a little bit more hold than I do. But it's so hard and sticky to get it through your hair. It pulled it, and it felt kind of like an ordeal to me. So both him and Dawn suggested this one, and I got this one just off of Amazon, and I've used it twice, and you can see this is just, it's nice and soft, and so I thought I'd share with you how easy it goes in and kind of the hold. The other one, the black ship, did actually have a good end result if my hair wasn't too long and I didn't use too much of it. You guys can critique my technique if you wish, and the guy at the world famous hair salon Supercuts told me to kind of do like this and pull it up. I don't know. I'm a guy that for the last however many years has never used product in his hair and realized it's probably time to grow up and get your hair a little less floppy during the day. Let's see. And I always used to comb it forward and just flick it back by hand, and he suggested combing it to the side and then kind of flicking it forward. So we'll see how that goes. I was saying I'll be quick about this, but the black ship did dry down into like a matte finish, and it wasn't crunchy, and it actually, when I used just a little bit and my hair wasn't too long, the outcome was fine. It was just getting it in was tough. This one pretty much the same thing. I'd say it's maybe just a little crunchy if you don't touch it at all the first time, but then you mess with it a little bit and it's fine. I'm just getting I've already got my soap lathered up, but it's been sitting there through the shave, so I'm just making sure it's still good. And today, I got this in. This is my Timeless. I'll show you, take out all the, they send you a little cloth to clean it with. And, I actually got this used, but he kept all the packaging, so there she is. And this is the Timeless closed comb. See, I don't know, people seem to be able to get focused by doing, I don't know. I can never get close focus on this stuff, so I'll have to take a picture. So look at the shine on that baby. But just a nice smooth bar there. So we're going to be using that today. And I'll show you the difference. This is also interesting. I'll show you. He put a washer there. And he put a washer there because he learned without doing that, through use, you end up scratching up the head. So I guess it's just an aesthetics type of thing. So, if you've been watching, you know I've been using Dave from Kentucky's razor. He's letting a lot of us borrow, which is super cool of him. This is the scalloped head. So we're going to take the razor, or the blade, out of his razor and put that one into mine, and then I'll show you the difference in the heads. In fact, let me do that before I stick a sharp object in it. So this is also Dave from Kentucky's head. This is the open comb. You can see the open combs. This is the scalloped head. And so now this is where I'm guessing there's not going to be much difference. It's mostly aesthetics, because you can see the The edge there may be a little texture there, but not much, and it's mostly looks, which does look pretty cool because his cap also has those marks, so they all line up and look beautiful. And then my head, just completely smooth. I got this just because that's what was available. It was a BST, so it saved me some money. But people are always selling and these things, you can just buy another one. So this feather blade has been used twice, so this will be the last use for this. And same handle, I loved his handle. I love the texture of it, nice grip, looks beautiful. So that's the razor. The soap is from Mr. Chris Lindsay on the forums. Thank you so much, Chris. This is his new base, his new tallow formula. So I get to try that out. And this is vintage wine. I want to keep my face a little bit wet here while I'm introducing all this. In fact, I'll start putting it on while I'm talking about it. So, he mentioned that this was a new scent he was playing around with. And scent-wise, I'll have to say, and I let him know this already, that this is kind of like most soap or most wine scented products that I've seen around Napa, or I'm sure anywhere else that has wineries. They'll have all sorts of gift stores with wine scented this and that, the lotions and candles and things like that, and not a single one of them. And I'm getting lather all over the place. I'm thinking this, still learning also this black knot, it doesn't seem to hold the soap in it very well, so that's why I keep going back to the mug and look at that. It's just, unless I put too much water in it, maybe I did that. I might have pushed it a little too far because I knew this was going to be a high performing soap, so I wanted to make sure I got all the water in it that should be in there. So if I screwed it up, we'll give it another run tomorrow. I've got lather on the front of me, my shoulder, my arm, it's on the floor. I'm not one of those that likes lather all over the place, so we'll see how, yeah, it's looking a little bit thin. So we'll see. You know what? I'm gonna pause this, I'm gonna remix a batch, and I'll be back. All right, well, let's try this again. I don't wanna give Chris a disservice on our first try, so I think this might be a little bit better. Let's see if I can get that. People that like to look at that. Let's check this one out. There we go. That maybe I just pushed it a bit too far. So there goes some again. I'm getting a little less aggressive with the flopping here. So wine scent, I don't know. I'm assuming there's something that must be extremely difficult about reproducing an actual wine scent with artificial components. And my first thought was, going back, I'd mentioned I'd read a book called The Perfect Scent, where one of the, great book, one of the many things they talk about is how if you take chocolate or I don't know, whatever it is, and throw it in an analyzer, you'll get like 200 different molecules that in nature make up that scent. But when they're doing it for production, they can reproduce that scent with 3 molecules. So I'm assuming with some scents they can reproduce it with just a few and have it be very recognizable, and maybe wine is not one of those. Let's get going. So this feels good so far. Now I was tricked with one of my last razors thinking it was being very efficient, and it wasn't. So I'm going to reserve judgment. It certainly sounds and feels like it's hitting all the hairs. It feels nice and smooth. I just shaved with the scalloped bar yesterday. So I don't know. I'd say this is probably the same as that. I don't know how you could get much smoother than the scallop bar I was using. Whoop, wrong direction there. Alright, so I'm trying to concentrate on the new razor there. Good, decent reduction. I did, well, I don't know, pretty good. See how it goes. Yeah, so this soap, it is a very sweet smelling soap to me, and that's also part of my kind of hesitation giving official notes, because like any tobacco scent, I know it smells just like honey to me, and some soaps I pick up things others don't. But to me this is much sweeter than most wine, and it smells, it is very fruity, but it smells like a fresh fruit, which is different than something that's been through fermentation. And I think fermentation gets rid of some of those sharp, sweet, fresh notes, for sure. Makes it a little bit more complex. Odo. Whew. Save the razor. Save the glass sink. Okay, we're good. Wow. Do I win the most exciting video on the cadre this week? No blood, but without a net, my razor did 3.5 twists with a backflip. And I don't even know what happened there. Too busy yapping. I swear that's the first time I've ever dropped a razor while I'm shaving. Must be too smooth, baby. Too smooth. But to finish off the notes from this soap, what I get, and it's funny because it's not what it's meant to be, but I really like it. I'll certainly keep using it, but I get fresh green apple almost to the T. It smells, there's another apple scent I have from Sterling, I believe, and I like this one much better. That one is, I think, a red apple, and I don't know what, I haven't used it for a long time. I'd have to pull it out to compare, but Chris, I like this one a lot more than that. So we're at 2 passes, and we're definitely at DFS. So it's funny because this is not what I expected at all. So I'm almost like this has to be in my head or mental or something. But to me, this is giving a closer shave than the scalloped, which doesn't make any sense. I think maybe they'd be the same. So maybe when Dave's been so generous that when he finally gets his timeless back, I send him my straight bar. He can give it a shot and see what he thinks. But I don't want to keep his razor any longer. Other people are waiting for it, but I almost just have to assume that still that they're very similar, and I'm just learning this razor better. One of the things I started with was thinking it's so heavy. I treated it as an RX, you know, the Asylum RX single edge razor, which you need to be super careful with, no pressure whatsoever, or it's going to give you all sorts of irritation. So that's how I was shaving with this, but I think the issue is that this is, while it's heavy, with the blade geometry, it is a very mild razor. And I'm very hesitant to say use pressure. What it is, I shave it almost like any other DE, if that makes any sense. The Asylum RX, I'm very careful just to very carefully hold, especially with the grain pass, where seriously, the only weight on my face is the razor itself, and sometimes I think I'm even holding it off a little bit. With any other DE, I wouldn't say, hopefully you know what I mean. I'm not pressing down, but I'm holding it against my face. Oh, man. So, I'm sorry, I keep jumping all over the place because I've got a lot going on. I know that's a shaving sin, right? To change up a lot of stuff at one time. I'm just feeling that shave is great, and the soap is, I'll have to use it a few more times, but once I got that dialed in, the cushion was great. I'm used to a little bit, maybe thicker lather. What do I want to say? Creamier lather for my top soaps, but this is like you just put moisturizer on. I'm not going to do it because I don't think it would be a smart thing to do, but I almost just want to let this dry down with the soap on and see what happens. Chris mentioned he thought he got his soap dialed in, and I think that's right. The whole thicker, creamier lather and all that stuff has sometimes relates to performance, but not always. Sometimes it's a mental aesthetic that it just looks cool getting it on pretty thick. But that's pretty good. So anyway, the soap, I think it's a great performer. I'll use it. He sent me a few other samples, so I'll try those out. Again, I get distracted. I'm thinking about the razor and the blade and all that at the same time, so it's tough to concentrate on one and give it the attention that it needs. But it's certainly one that is not lacking in anything. It's just a matter of, I think, it's interesting too, the post-shave residual. Some of them are, I'm used to it being high-performing soaps, very, very slippy, right? That's what we're looking for, it's slick and it's like ice. And this one is almost like that, with the difference that it's almost hydrating or just a touch thicker or creamier, like I said, like you just put a balm on, so it's not just completely thin and slippery. It's almost like you feel like there's some protection there, which I can't recall another soap feeling like that. And hopefully that's one of the things he's changed and is proud of, and not like, what the heck are you talking about? But yeah, looking forward to using more of these, and then especially when I'm not changing everything all at the same time and can give it a little bit of time. the razor. So I guess I'll stick with a more generalized conclusion that that open comb was, as KJ and I figured out, aggressive as heck for us. I can't use that on my neck, I don't think at all. And on my face I could use it, but not every day. And I'll say that I think that the closed comb and the scalloped ones are very similar. I got a better shave today than yesterday with the scalloped, but again, I'm not ready to say that that's because of the head itself. Just because it was one use and I was still kind of dialing in the razor overall. But so I'd say I'm still gonna go with, they're very similar, but it's an aesthetics difference. Just experience wise, the solid bar gave me a better shave. Take that for what you will. And then the suavecito is slowly drying down here. All right, so thank you, Cadre. A lot of stuff there. Like I said, I'll get that timeless sent off. Really, to make a good comparison, you'd want both of those plates for a while and go back and forth and stuff. But like I said, lots of other stuff to use. I just got the carve in from Dave in Kentucky, so thank you again, Dave. So I'll try that. And as KJ mentioned, it's interesting, our videos, we kind of reference each other and go back and forth and stuff like that. So really, if you've got the time, I encourage you to watch everybody's videos and join the Cadre if you haven't, because it's kind of a little bit of storytelling and all that back and forth, which is pretty cool. And then, man, again, Dave in Kentucky, I'm jealous. You just mentioned you watched KJ's video while you were having coffee, and then you're gonna take your shave, and I'm thinking, that must be what it's like to kind of live almost like a normal life. I can't remember the last time I had a job where I got to have coffee and breakfast at home and then go into work, and it's always been getting into work so early that breakfast is there. And when I heard that, it just kind of struck me, because I don't think about it anymore, but I'm like, wow, that sounds really relaxing. But I set up my schedule so I get home at 3, or get off work at 3 and deal with kids and homework and dinner and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, just something on my mind. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, the carve is coming up for testing, and then a few more soaps. I'll see you on the forums.